So I think a question on a lot of people's minds right now is why are the bugs so much more popular than the robots in Helldivers 2? This is Radar.io where we can see current planet forces and we can see there's 225,000 people in Angel's Venture, and then in the other planets there's 17,000 here, 30,000 there, 13,000 there, 18,000 there, compared to Dropner, which has 37,000, and the other planets are negligible, 12,000 Malevolent Creek, and 6,000 at the other planet. Now, granted, there is a major order going on right now, so it makes sense that because of the major order at Angel's Ventures, there is more people there. However, this is not a uncommon thing. We've seen consistently, even when there's major orders in the automaton sections, that there's just more people playing on the bug planets than the bot planets. So, why is that? There's been a lot of different discussion on Reddit about this, on TikTok about this, on YouTube about this, so I thought I'd kind of put together some of the community's ideas and my own thoughts on why it's just more popular to fight the bugs than it is to fight the bots. So I'm going to start with my number one reason, and I think it's going to be a lot of people's number one reason, and it's just this sense of fairness in what feels good. Now, there's a lot of debate on which side is actually harder, if bugs are harder or bots are harder. That debate aside, there's a lot of things that happen with the bots that don't happen with the bugs that just feel bad. Most notably, getting sniped by a rocket from absolutely nowhere and being able to do absolutely nothing about it. Like, what was I supposed to do about that? In addition, you have things like the towers that fire down from you randomly. Sometimes they lock on, sometimes they snipe you, sometimes they can't hit you at all. Sometimes you spawn like right on a mortar placement and start getting bombarded. You can't get your gear together. You lose like 10 lives as soon as you drop in. And then you have things like the walkers that can just randomly one-shot you sometimes, or those guys who hold the shields and just sit there and snipe you from a quarter mile away while firing a machine gun and still manage to hit you. And yes, the bugs have some versions of this too, right? They have those bile nurses that can spew on you and instantly kill you. They have the bile titans that are a little janky, and of course, everyone's favorite, the chargers. But typically, all these have to be in melee range or close to melee to have any level of effectiveness, whereas the bots can hit you from across the map. I feel that a lot of people feel that it's just unfair. They want to limit those unfair deaths because unfair deaths don't feel fun, and if that's all you're feeling there, you're not going to have fun, so you're going to want to switch to a different enemy. Number two is the stratagems, specifically the effects on planets that impact you when you go down on them. Having radar jammers that block your stratagems, having ion storms that allow you not to call things in for like a minute, having the scramblers that cause you to throw eagles down on your own people, and the one that people hate the most, I think, is the one that only lets you bring 3 stratagems instead of 4. Combine that with people who feel like they have to bring a shield and a railgun, that means you only get 1 stratagem to bring, and you might not even be able to use them all that much, because again, there's an increased cooldown on the planet. You combine all these things together and you ask yourself, well, why would I run the bots where all these things I don't like are when I can just run bugs and not have to deal with any of that? I get the same amount of samples, I still get experience, I still get to play the game. Why would I go through all that extra difficulty for nothing? And I think that's the core of the issue here. If you don't get anything different for running bots, then why bother when you have to deal with all that? I think that's completely valid. But wait, there's more. Now, this might be more of a personal opinion than anything that actually, has weight behind it, but it's my opinion, and I saw a few other people who shared it. And that's that the bugs just feel like a more appropriate enemy. The automatons are kind of just like, they're this faceless, never-ending force who just wants to grind you up, but the bugs are classic. You have Starship Troopers fighting the bugs. Not to mention lore-wise, we grind them up and use them as like starship fuel or something like that, right? So like it feels like there's a purpose behind it, like we're taking these bugs out so that we can continue to liberate the galaxy. Like it just feels like a better opponent lore-wise and fitting-wise and story-wise. And then you just have the confirmation bias where a lot of people just, jump into the game. They don't want to jump around to plans. They don't want to think. They just want to click quick play, jump into a game, and start playing. And so they get a lot of bugs missions. And so when they go to do a mission, they're already at the bug planets. They just, again, want to go there. So here we go. We're right here. Let's just go into the game and start playing. I think it kind of creates a feedback loop where it's like, oh, I'm already on the bug planet, so I'm just going to keep running the bug missions because that's where I'm already at and that's what everyone else is doing. And I want more people to join my game and play. And it just creates a positive feedback loop. Reason number 4 or 5 or wherever we're at now, I think that the bots just have worse missions. Like, they have that rescue the scientist one, and anyone who's done that on Helldive mode knows that there was either a bug going on with it, or, you know, that mission was just downright impossible for like 90% of people, and that just wasn't fun, which caused a bunch of campaigns to not be complete, which means you're losing out on medals, and again, it's not as fun to face these situations, and why would you when you can go over to the bugs and get your medals and do more fun missions? Back to personal opinions again, I feel like the bugs are just much more satisfying when you take them out. Like, they squish, they break, they splatter, like there's just so much satisfying effect when you lay down a carpet bomb on them. The robots kind of just collapse. The only one is like the big robots that explode when you take them down. Like, that's kind of cool, but like watching a Bile Titan crumple in comparison, like, to me there's no comparison. The Bile Titan wins every time on that. There's also one unit we have to bring up in particular, which is the jetpack dude that'll fly right at you and blow up on you. Now, this probably goes back to, you know, point number one in unfair deaths, but this guy deserves his own, like, section, just because he is so frustrating to fight. You can do absolutely everything right. You can shoot him out of air, you can hit him before he even gets to you, and somehow he'll ragdoll towards you and blow you up regardless. Again, it goes back to these cheap deaths that people don't like to feel. And while we're ranting about their units, those heavy devastators that just fire the rockets, when it drops a pod of like 7 of those guys on you and it's just rockets flying everywhere, like, there's just nothing you can do about that. It just does not feel fun. So now I've ranted and raved for a bit here. That's all the reasons that I think the bots are less popular. So the final kind of question would be, what can they do to encourage you to play bots? If they gave us more medals, would you be more willing to play bots? Would they have to change the way, like, the Strategem jammers work? Would they have to add all new enemies? Is there anything they can do, or are you just a fan of fighting the bugs? Or vice versa, are you someone who only fights the bots and feels like everything I said in this video is absolute garbage? Either way, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for listening today, and have a blessed day.